my best friend. That's my best friend. Go best friend. That's my best friend. Go best friend. That's my best friend. That's my best friend. That's my best friend. To the end. Me and you. Ooh. If you spend, then I spend. All on you. Ooh. You. Just say the word and we gon' run it up. You're number one and it's don't run up. Don't matter if your birthday's coming up, I'm still gon' get you those little gifts, and it's not even about that. I just love to make you smile, so go and smile back. Little FaceTime, little chit chat, little time spent, little meal or something. What we doing on?
Hey, it's Future Tracy here, and don't look behind me trying to work down here. It's not going to ever change. But I wanted to say that I recorded this video in March, and during that time, lots was going on. My biological father had fallen and broken his hip, and I was doing a lot of running back and forth to Tennessee, and you know, just life in general got away. So I haven't posted my video because honestly, I keep thinking no one's going to watch it, and I don't have a lot to say. However, I'm struggling with finishing. I'm struggling with wanting to stitch because it feels like I stitch and I don't know how to finish. I don't know how to sew something. Yes, I'm watching all the videos. Yes, my bestie will help, but I put things on crooked. I'm just struggling, and I thought, well, you know what? If I would dab my toe in the community, maybe I could meet a couple of people that either do finishes, or maybe you guys can give me some tips and tricks on how, when I, you know, put my cross stitch on a board, I don't move it over too far or too up and it's crooked, and then I have hot glued it and I can't get it off. And so I just want to make some friends in this community. I'm going to my first actual cross stitch retreat next year, and I'd like to make some friends in the community. So I'm going to go ahead and post this video, even though it was recorded in March. Some of the data is outdated. My father has since passed, and I rant and raved about Jane and Julie, and they've decided to end their YouTube channel. So please overlook some of the timing, but I would like to go ahead and post this video. So I hope to see you guys around. I hope that I'll get back in the groove of things and get myself together and start doing this in a regular fashion. Thanks for watching. Good morning, besties. Welcome to Stitching with Your Besties, FlossTube number 1. I'm Tracy, and my bestie is unable to film right now. She's got a very busy life, and we've talked about this, and it's just not a good time for her. So I wanted to sit down because I'd love to get to know some of you guys and get some information. Again, my name is Tracy, and it's been a 35-year hiatus since I stitched. I stopped about when I was 24, 25, and have been busy being a mom and a full-time worker and all those good things. And when my bestie, who you will meet, Karen, asked me to stitch probably in 21, I said, absolutely not. I've got so much craft. I've been a crafter my whole life. I've got so much craft stuff downstairs that I'm not even putting to good use. I've spent a lot of money and not even using it. So I was like, no, I'm not going back to stitching. And I ended up going to her house last summer. My husband was helping her husband work on their house, and she had a floss tube up, and it was I believe Stitching with the Housewives. I know she did Primrose Cottage as well, but I think Stitching with the Housewives was the first one. Y'all, hooked, just hooked. I have since last June watched all episodes up to, I think I'm at 278, and of course I watched their recent ones, but I have been gone from the beginning and gotten to know them, and have totally enjoyed their floss tube and watching all of their life progress, and have since then really gotten into wanting to watch floss tubes and see what people are doing and see how they're stitching, what they're stitching on. I started on 14 count Ada, and I'm now trying 32 count. I've tried 28 black Monaco. So I'm trying to branch out, you know, as an 80s and 90s type stitcher. You know, it was all this cute stuff and a lot different than it is now. And now I just want to make all the beautiful things. So I got back in hook, line, and sinker in 2023 and have dove in. I told my best friend Karen that I was not going to do anything but stitch my stash. And that was from June to December, that 2024 was a stitch your stash year. And that's not happened. Thank you, market. When did that happen? When did market come up? So, yeah, it's been kind of a interesting new jump into cross stitch from when I was a young kid. What I do love about this is, as opposed to scrapbooking or digital scrapbooking or making cards or anything like that, I can actually just sit in my chair and stitch while we're watching a show. Now, you can't watch when there's subtitles like in the show Shogun, but you can just sit with your husband and relax and stitch. And that's who I am as a person, someone who always needs something in my hands. So I wanted to say thanks for having me, and I hope I continue to keep this up. I am a person who travels with my husband in our camper, and I've started a channel over there as well, and I'm not near as consistent with that as I'd like to be. So I'm hoping that by doing this, that'll get me back into making my videos for our travels, and also I'll be consistent with both. I do want to cut in and say I decided on stitching with, when I was thinking of the name for this channel, it was Stitching with My Bestie. And then I thought, you know, why not call it Stitching with Your Besties, so that you guys can join in with us. And we hope that you guys do become our besties, and that we have great conversations, long conversations with laughter and love and friendship. And that's what this is all about. This is what I'm hoping for. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Tracy, and I have been married for 40 years. I got married very young. My husband was in the military and I was in college, and he came along and swept me off my feet and took me to Japan. So we got married young, and just celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary last year for 3 weeks in the camper. We went to South Dakota and Colorado for those 3 weeks. Had a wonderful time. I also have 3 kids, a boy and 2 girls, and they're making their way in their lives and getting older, and just the most wonderful 3 kids that I could have been blessed with. I have the best 2 grandbabies. I know we all think that we have the best, but mine are pretty special. And in the hierarchy of things around here, it goes God first, then my husband, and then those 2 grandbabies. And then my 3 kids are 4th. And of course, I'm at the bottom of the list. I do have a mom who is suffering from Alzheimer's. And we have her in memory care at this time. My stepfather passed away in 2020. And so we've been taking care of Mom. I have crafted my entire life. I have been a full-time worker my entire life. I got involuntarily laid off in 2009 with the downturn of the economy, and had worked some jobs after that as contracting, and Mom got diagnosed in 2013 with Alzheimer's, and we just decided I would just stay and help take care of her. So that's what I've been doing. And she's now, if she's not in stage 7, she's very close to stage 7 of Alzheimer's. My bestie is Karen, and you will get to meet her. And Karen and I guess I probably should wait until she gets here, but we met through the neighborhood. Our girls went to school together. We lived in the same neighborhood. And just in talking one day, Karen said that she was going to try and start a card group. And I didn't know her that well. I was a full-time worker working in downtown. I'm south of Atlanta, and I was driving to Atlanta daily, and she was a stay-at-home mom, and she kept saying, I'm going to create a card group. And I just knew I wanted to be in that group, and I just kind of barged my way. Please invite me. Please invite me. I want to have friends. And we've been besties ever since. So we just have a blast. She is my Laverne to my Shirley. She's my Blanche to, or maybe I'm the Blanche to her Rose. I don't know who's who, but you know, just true to the core. So, and I love her, and I hope you get to meet her. She is preparing a wedding for her daughter. She's still working full time, and her husband has some health issues that I'll let her share if she wants. So she's just quite busy. And we were going to do this together, as I stated. However, it's too hard for her right now, and I just felt like I had this creative need to kind of try and do this. So that's why I'm here without her. So that's how we met. That's how we became besties. I pushed my way into that card club, and we just love each other. So I wanted to show you what I'm working on. I am a monogamous stitcher, and I just don't feel like I can be that girl that has 15 whips. And so if I have multiple stitches, it becomes a pressure point for me that I put on myself. I am that girl that I think won't be showing a lot of whips. I don't think that's me. And I'd like to know your opinion on that. Does it help you? Like, for instance, I watched somebody this morning that said, I started this 4 years ago. I can't do that. I just don't think I can do that. It will be that thing that I feel like I've never accomplished. And I think for me, accomplishment is important. So I'm going to keep continuing to stitch and see how I evolve. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you got over monogamous stitching. So that being said, I want to show you what I stitched recently. So I'm going to start with my whips, and currently, as I said earlier, I am a monogamous stitcher, so I struggle really hard with having more than one whip. I've got lots of kits, excuse me, but I prefer to finish something. Gives me a little bit more satisfaction. So I wanted to show you that currently I'm working on Winter Woods Santa. It's the Prairie Schooler 2021 Santa. And I am stitching him on Vintage Country Mocha. It's supposed to be stitched on putty, 18 count putty. Putty Khaki Davos, and I just didn't like the fabric. I do have some left, so some of mine are going to be in the putty, but I think I'm going to stitch those that I can on Vintage Country Mocha as well. And so I started this yesterday, and this is where I'm at. So not too shabby. He's moving pretty fast. And I really like the Santas. I'm hoping to have a pencil tree somewhere in the house that I can display my Santas, kind of like Priscilla with Stitching with the Housewives did. I'd love to have just a tree just to display my cross stitch. So that's kind of what I'm going for, is more of it being in the house, not just hanging on the walls. So that is the Prairie Schooler Winter Woods 2021 Santa, called for colors on Vintage Country Mocha. So I'm stitching him now. And I just finished, I wanted to show you, and I don't have the chart. I do have the chart. I just have it on my iPad. I took a picture so I could zoom in, and I don't know where the pattern is. But this is Happy Birthday America from Stitching with the Housewives. I finished that this week. It is stitched on 28 count black even weave or Monaco. I really love this pattern. I'm hoping to get quite a bit of patriotic stitching done this year along with my Prairie Schooler Santas. One thing that I kind of had a little bit of trouble with on this one was the negative space in America. So I tried one floss of red and one floss of white. I combined them, and I basically went across thinking that I would do kind of like a red, white, and blue type of scenario. And while it was really cool looking, I felt like America got lost. So I think I'm going to leave it like it is, and I'm hoping to put it kind of on a block or maybe a pillow when I finish it so that it stands out. But I really do like it. I do have a problem, guys, as you'll see, measuring. So I think I'm going down 2 inches. I think I was going up 2 inches, and as I begin to stitch, of course, I start to unravel. So I'd love to know your thoughts on how to prevent unraveling. I don't know how to stitch, or I don't know how to sew, so I'm learning how to do that. So maybe I can learn to do a whip stitch. I've also tried the blue painter's tape, and sometimes it sticks to the fabric, sometimes it doesn't. That does help. I've used that stitchy liquid stuff, Fray something, and I used quite a bit. That goes very quickly. So I just kind of would love to know your opinions on what you use to protect your stitches from unraveling, or your fabric from unraveling. Judith Kirby's Victorian number 9. I actually called the shop that has exclusive rights to this. I'll tell you what the name of it is. So it's Victorian House number 9, and I am going to combine it with Victorian House number 15, just like Priscilla did on Stitching with the Housewives. I actually saw this in one of her videos and absolutely fell in love with it. So this was purchased from Stitch in Time in Saginaw, Michigan. The phone number is 989-781-5209. They have strange hours, but they're very good about returning calls. So if you call and they're not open, just leave a message and they will return your call. But Judith Kirby's Victorians House number 9, I started stitching at the same time I was stitching Winter, and I did finish it. And it was one of those, once I started, I did not want to stop. So here's my stitch. Absolutely love it. It is stitched on fabric that they recommended. It's got great modeling, and I would have to probably call them and ask them what he suggested, because he just said, would you like to stitch it on? And he named it, and I said sure. So he sent me the fabric. I believe it's 28 count, but the other house will go right up to the fence will continue, and the other house will go right here. So I'll have a little bit of the fabric left. Again, you can see that, you know, I'm kind of close in my stitching, so I've got to figure out how to start measuring a little bit better, but absolutely love this one. And I do have the 15, and I'm just not, let me see the picture of that. I'll show you the picture that they sent so you can see what it's going to look like when it's finished. Absolutely love this. So I cannot wait to get started on number 15, and that should be in here. See if I can find a picture of it. All right, well, oh, maybe it's this way. Yeah. And then this is house number 15. Judith Kirby's Victorians, house number 9 and 15. I am a huge Kansas City Chiefs fan. I have been a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs for 40 years, long before Taylor Swift and long before we became Super Bowl champions 4 times. My husband supported the Chiefs, and I said, absolutely, they wear red, that's my favorite color, I'll jump on board. And so we've been long-suffering fans. Won the first Super Bowl in 1970 and did not win a second Super Bowl until 2019. So we've been suffering and absolutely are in our wonderful years, exciting years. And so that's a big part of my life as well. Love my team, love the guys. So when I saw this, we were in the playoffs, and it was a rough year for us this year. And someone posted this on one of the stitching groups, and I was like, oh my gosh, where did you get that? So I found this little guy on Etsy, and I didn't go to look him up where I got him. I should have. I apologize. I'll put it in the video. But this is my little gnome. I collect gnomes, and when I saw him supporting the Kansas City Chiefs as well, had to stitch him. So I jumped in, I finished Judith Kirby, jumped back over to Winter, and then when I saw this guy, I jumped into stitching him as well. So he is stitched on Ada 14 white, and again, he's awful close to the top. Hoping to put him into a pillow, you know, maybe just stick on I have a tiered tray that I make for the Chiefs every year as our season gets started. So it's just exciting. It's exciting when you've not been able to celebrate. It's been disappointment after disappointment. It feels good. It finally feels good. So that's my little gnome. Cute, cute, cute. So I wanted to show you him, and again, I'll put the name of that down there. I wanted to show you what I started my cross stitch journey doing. I think I might have said it earlier, but I started when I went to my Besties. It was Welcome to the North Pole by Primrose Cottage, and my bestie convinced me that I could do this big chart because Lindsay was doing it one tier at a time. And she was going to do it for 6 months, and I ended up stitching this. I started at the end of June and finished sometime in October. I was so excited that I finished it. I have not fully finished it, but it just so darling, so cute. It's Welcome to the North Pole, designed by Lindsay Waite, Primrose Cottage, and here's my finish. Haven't put my buttons on yet, so I'm just going to hold it up. Need to iron it. I do want to finish this. I saw someone finish it with candy stripes on the back, candy stripe type fabric, and I don't sew. I still haven't ever taught myself to sew, and so I'd love to have someone finish that because I'd like it kind of just to hang on the wall. And I did purchase from Frippswood, FRIPPSWOOD @gmail.com. It's Wayne and Paula, and it's Fripperies MD or MP. And it's these snowflakes too. They're 10 inches. I'm going to hold them up for you just gently. And what they do is you put one portion of the cross stitch fabric here, the other at the bottom, and it sits in the snowflakes. So that is snowflakes number 2, 10 inches, and it should fit my Welcome to the North Pole perfectly and be able to hang it on the wall. So I should get that done pretty quickly if I can figure out how to sew. I've been watching all you great finishers, Vanna, Priscilla with Stitching with the Housewives, and I'm hoping to get there and get some things finished. Also, recently I stitched, as in February, I stitched Honeybee Quaker from Primrose Cottage. Y'all, I love this pattern, the colors, the pattern. I'm a gardener. I'm hoping to put this on a little pillow. Once again, I'm pretty close to the top. But just adore this Quaker. I didn't think I was going to like Quakers, but I absolutely adore this. And they're small enough to where I don't feel like, you know, y'all, I'm just not quite ready for a, excuse me, a sampler. I have not been stitching in 35 years. I need to do things that I finish. So this to me was perfect. I just love it. So I'm hoping to show that as a fully finished object as well. And that pattern has also been scanned into my iPad and zoomed. I don't know about y'all, but when I scan them in and then I go and hit edit the photo, you can take your pen and you can mark off what you've, oh, so satisfying. Another thing that I stitched in February was, of course, the Valentine's Quaker from Primrose Cottage, Lindsay Waite. And Lindsay had mentioned that she'd love to see somebody do this on red, and I was like, oh gosh, red is my favorite color. I've got to do it. So I stitched it on red Ada 14 count. The white is 12 grain, and y'all, I meant to look up that blue. Darn it, I forgot again. So I'll put that down in the video and tell you what blue. But I kind of decided, you know, it'd be kind of nice to have some pops of color. I would have loved to have done this with maybe a pink on the red instead of the white. I don't know. There's just so many possibilities, but I absolutely love these Quakers. And again, I'm hoping to make this into a pillow. So that was finished in February. All right. Country Cottage Needleworks, land that I love. Loved, loved, loved this. It was supposed to be stitched on, let me read this, sorry guys. It was supposed to be stitched on 32 count lamb's wool linen, courtesy of Witchell. And I'm not ready to do 32 count. So I did get white Ada 14 count, and I dipped it in RIT dye, and I believe this is the emerald RIT dye. and the one that's not the darkest, I think nighttime is, midnight I think is the darkest, but very quickly dipped it in the blue, and then I did some tea and coffee dye to give it that vintage look. I used all the called for colors, but I really like this on the blue. It gave it a different look. I was initially worried that the words were not dark enough, but I think they're just perfect. So that's Land That I Love from Country Cottage Needleworks. I finished that last year. Let me put this back in its bag. Okay. Another one that I finished was, and this is the one I did in January of this year. In the middle of stitching, I realized that I had the word off by, I had finished the word winter, and I had the word off by one stitch. So portions, the last 4 letters, N-T-E-R, were off, and it was so obvious I knew I was going to have to frog it. So this is Winter by Stitching with the Housewives, and it was the Stitching Seasons pattern. I had just joined cross stitching, and I only got winter and got autumn, and I'll show you autumn's in a minute. I don't think I'm going to finish it. I mean, I will, but I'm going to have to use a different fabric, and I'll tell you why. This was done on a, I don't know if it tells me, yeah, I'm not sure, y'all, what this fabric was that they sent, but it's a striped fabric. I'll show it to you in just a second. Oh, it includes, it doesn't say. A lightly texture print of the thin white pine board 28 count even weave fabric by Fabric Flair. Adds plenty of charm to your cross stitch. So I do love that fabric, but I had seen someone stitch it on black, and that's what I wanted to do. So if you look really closely, I've taken it out of the bag. This is what it's supposed to look like. And you can see the houses have black roofs, and the snow is kind of creamy. The snowmen are kind of creamy. The hot cocoa has a white background with a black text. So I've changed all of that. Mine was stitched on 28 count Monaco, black Monaco. The roofs of the storefronts are now gray. I still used all the called for colors, but I used that gray as opposed to the black because of course it wouldn't have shown up. And on the hot cocoa, I used white and I used red text as opposed to black text. I also put yellow stitches in the windows to make it look like they're kind of glowing because it's nighttime. Really like this, but the word winter was off, N-T-E-R, like I said, was off by a stitch, and there was no way I could not frog it. I mean, it was too obvious. So during that time, because I had to order more of the blue, I stitched my Halloween house. So, and I wanted to show you real quick too that I also have the autumn stitching seasons with the housewives, and I'm working like crazy on that. Absolutely love it. However, again, y'all, it's been 35 years, and this was probably the 4th thing I stitched. And I have lost most of the fabric, and I don't know what to do at this point. You can see how little room I have. I've absolutely quit stitching it. Let me show you what it's supposed to look like. It's so cute. I do have the extra fabric from the winter stitch, so I may just go ahead and restitch it, but I'm pretty far along, and it pretty much bummed me out. The more I moved with it, the more the top came off. I had tape on it. I tried my best. So I do need help if anybody can provide any kind of guidance on what I should do prior to stitching, but that's autumn. It's in progress, so I guess it's considered a whip. I told you guys I don't like to mix my whips. So those are the things that I'm stitching currently. Actually, I have a few more, and the things that I've finished. I do have a few more that are not completely FFO'd, and then I'll show you my FFOs. I have Pumpkin Pie by Stitching with the Housewives. I finished this on October 27th, and I used chalk black 14 count Aida, and I really like the chalk black better than I like Monaco black. Easier to see through. So I went on ahead and did 14 count Ada. So cute. I've stuck it on sticky board. It's got some padding underneath it. Need to work on learning how to do my corners, but I really, really think that's adorable, and I will finish it off. I've got some fabric. I just haven't gone down there yet. Two others that I have finished that I'm not quite happy with because I don't have as crisp, sharp edges, but I'm going to do a Prairie Schooler Santa tree as Priscilla on Stitching with the Housewives has done. And this is stitched on 18 count putty as the pattern called for colors. I did add the year of the Santa. That was important to me. And this one was 2009. And so I'm going to do that with all my Santas. I did not like stitching on the putty. It felt very uneven to me, so that's why I have switched to the 18 count Vintage Country Mocha that you saw in my current stitch. But Prairie Schooler Santa 2009. This is the Prairie Schooler Santa. He looks all crooked. 2023, again stitched on putty because I had some fabric left over. 18 count putty. Finished this in 2023, and again I'm adding to my collection, so eventually I will have this as an ornament for, I'm hoping, a pencil Christmas tree. Sweet Land of Liberty from Cherry Hill Stitchery, and put that into my iPad and was able to zoom in on it, and I fully finished this. I'm proud that I fully finished it. I stitched it on, I believe, Vintage Country Mocha. Again, I need to get better at writing down, and I have started that process for it to get better. There are mistakes in this. I'm not going to point them out. Not going to find them anymore. It was my second project stitched. I have a string down or glue down here. I put some mini pom-poms around it. I went to Hobby Lobby and got some red and white buffalo check, and then I found at Hobby Lobby some fabric that had blue stars. So I thought that looked really good together. Finished this in 2023 in July. So I was really excited about it. So this is going to go on my basket that hangs on the door. I think this is probably the Better Homes and Gardens party time frame in the 90s, and so I'm just going to put some magnets and put it on there, and then I'll have some flags and some red, white, and blue pom-poms or something sticking out, and then I'll be able to switch it out for the seasons. So I'm really excited about that. So that was last July, Sweet Land of Liberty from Cherry Hill Stitchery. Now I do want to show you what I stitched in my young days, and that are finishes. We have recently sold my mom's home, and in that all the stuff that belonged to me came back to me. So I've got my cross stitch, and I think I have one that I sent to my mother-in-law. Both my in-laws have passed away as well. But this one is a Precious Moments. I don't remember who made it, but it's no other exactly like my charming mother. I stitched this in 1985. And my mom had it framed, which is quite lovely of her to do. So this is precious to me. Another one I did for me and my husband that she kept, or no, I found, I didn't give it to her, was a Precious Moments, Love Lifted Me. I did have this in a frame, as you can see from the mat. And again, it got to be where this was no longer a part of my decorations. So it's just kind of been sitting in my craft room. So I'm going to try and make a pillow out of that as well. Got a little bit of aging, a little bit of stain, but I made this for me and my husband. My centerpiece to my wedding cake was in Precious Moments in 1983. This is Our Mother, and it's, you are the mother I received the day I wed your son, and I just want to thank you, Mom, for the things that you have done. You have given me a gracious man with whom I share my life. You are his lovely mother, and I his lucky wife. You used to pat his little head, and now I hold his hand. You raised him in love, a little boy, then gave to me a man. And I stitched this in 1985, and that's when we lived in Japan. So I sent that home as a Christmas gift. But I was able to get that back as well. Another thing that I stitched for my son at the time, this has also been demolished. So just a cute little announcement of his birth that someone has torn apart or taken out. I think taken out of a frame, probably wanted to use the frame. So a cute little stitch. All of these were probably on ivory Aida or white Aida because back then that's all we did. All right, so those are my whips, my finishes, and my fully finishes for now. All right, so my recent haul is I'm going to do Bobby G Designs Born to be Wild, which is a cute little camping chart. I've got it kitted up, ready to go, and I'm going to take it with me when we go camping and stitch. I think it's adorable, and I'm hoping to put it in the camper so we can enjoy it. It says, home is where you park it, sleep under the stars, and born to be wild. So that's adorable. Can't wait to get started on that. Also with my haul, I won on Stitching with the Housewives, March's monthly weigh-in. So I'm so excited to get that started. So I won that from Stitching with the Housewives, and Chelsea sent it out to me. I purchased every Trucking Along chart. Remember, I was supposed to be stitching my stash, and I think I got these on January 3rd or 9th or something. So much for stitching my stash. So I have all of those, and I'm hoping to get, started on those one day. And that's all Trucking Along. Yeah. And then I got, that's all Trucking Along. I also got Madame Chantilly's Autumn Tier Tray. Oh my goodness. So beautiful. I got this early January after I had my moratorium of, stitch your stash, baby. Don't know when I'm going to get started on this. I can probably see this happening before the trucks because the owl, the squirrel, hello fall. Yes, please. I also, oh my goodness, y'all. So my bestie and I went camping and stitched the weekend. Hubby drove the camper, left us, came back and picked us up. While we were there, we got in trouble, and we found Every Opening Flower by Brenda Gervais. So that was end of January. Oh my goodness, we had no signal, and we drove to a spot on the road and parked in the ditch in someone's yard because we found a signal so we could order stuff. Terrible. So this is, I got it from countrystitchesonline.com, and it's with Thy Needle and Thread, designed by Brenda Gervais, Every Opening Flower. I'm sure you guys have seen that. Also, I've kitted up and received in that same weekend that I was a bad girl, Heartstring Sampler by Brenda Gervais. Let me get this out. Sweet Land of Liberty. This is by Beth Twist of Heartstring Samplery. Gorgeous. I'm going to use all the called for colors. I'm not sure about the fabric I'm going to use yet. And with that, actually, I'm sorry, I am going to use the fabric hand-dyed 36 count Edinburgh linen, milk and honey. And I got that from Fat Quarter Shop. So I'll be using that with Land of Liberty. And I'm also going to use it in Brenda Gervais's Land of Liberty as well. Are these the same name? Sweet Land of Liberty is the Heartstring Sampler, and Land of Liberty by Brenda Gervais. So I'm going to be doing these two. I've got all the called for colors, and I'm going to be doing these two on the same fabric because I'm going to put them somewhere near each other. So I got that this year as well. Excited about that. Got my fabric haul. And then another chart that I purchased, it's a mountain, it's happening, y'all, was Bobby G Designs Let's Go Trick or Treating. We saw that on a video when we were stitching together for the weekend. It came as a kit. It's designed by Barbara Smith. The finished size is only 6 by 11, so another cute little Halloween thing that I hope to get to. It looks like it's on black fabric, and I'll give you more details as I get that started. Of course, market just happened. I had to get some things there. I got Primrose's red, white, and blue quilt pattern. I'm going to make that into a pillow. I also got Patriotic Quaker because I've loved Honeybee. I've loved Valentine's, and now I've got this one, so I'm so excited about this. I'm going to get that kitted up, and because I'm loving her Quakers, I got 12 monthly minis as well, designed by Lindsay, so I cannot wait to get that started. So exciting. I also got from Stitching with the Housewives and Fat Quarter Shop. I got the sayings of the seasons, and I know a lot of people haven't shown theirs yet, but I've got the spring. It came as a kit. It's all classic, or I'm sorry, it's all called for colors, and I won't show you the chart just yet until I know other people are showing it. The last thing I got was Cutie Pie Stitch, the Love, Celebrate Love, Madame Chantilly, Love Valentine's tiered tray. Oh, I just love a good tiered tray. So I cannot wait to start this one. I do not have it kitted up. I don't know what fabric I'm going to use. Now I wanted to do some shout outs on who I'm watching. And listen, I can't even name the whole list of people because it's what I do during the day when I'm not doing my chores. So, and I even have been known, now you can't technically just listen because you want to see, but I've been known to listen if I'm out in the garden or something. So I love, 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 of course, Primrose Cottage. I've mentioned them, and I love, love, love Stitching with the Housewives. And Stitching with the Housewives are the ones that I've gone back and watched from the beginning, and I'm still continuing to do that. I've watched the Sassy Southern Stitchers. They're in Texas, and they've got a great dynamic, and I love that they're Southerners like I am. Of course, I've watched Floss Boss and Cousins. They're in my sister state of Alabama. That's where some of my family is from. And by the way, in Georgia, we say heifers as well. So I love watching their dynamic. I love that they're cousins. I love that they're fun. So y'all, Stitching with Jane and Julie, Running with Scissors, no one can make my belly shake as much as Jane and Julie, and the love they have for each other is palpable on the screen. You can tell that there's this deep friendship, this deep caring. Jane, when she breaks out in song, I about start crying. It is so hysterical. So we love them. We know that Jane's been sick lately. We're grateful for any video that they can give us because they are just a dynamic duo. And I love what they stitch, and they've taught me a lot. I like Chris Cross Stitch. I love his smooth voice. Cutesy Crafts. I watched her because she was trying to teach me how to do French knots. The Garden Goose Stitcher, she tickles herself, which also makes me laugh. Cindy's Adventure in Stitching. Obviously, she stitches in a camper or has a camper as her she shed. And I have a camper as well. So when we go camping, which we are this weekend, that stitching comes out as well. Unfinished Stitches, which is another mother-daughter duo with Bonnie and Madison. I love their dynamic. I love that they take the time to do this even though they don't live near each other. That's such a cool thing that they do it on Zoom. Lost Star Needles with Amy and Allie, another mother-daughter duo. They're new at this as well, but you can just see they're having a lot of fun. And I love that Amy was able to convince Allie to get into cross-stitching as well. It seems Amy's the one that was crafty in her family. Sweetwater Stitcher with Jessica, Nicole Spore, the Bougie Sisters. I mean, I could just go on and on. What's her name? Kari. Yeah, I just could go on and on. I've been watching all of y'all, and I absolutely love watching FlossTube. It makes my morning when I'm drinking coffee and stitching. So shout out to all of you guys. You're the kind of one that inspired me to get into this, even though I don't quite have my bestie yet. She'll get here. But I want to wish you guys all a great March. I probably won't be here until after the end of March. I'm hoping to do this once every 2 weeks. I showed you guys a lot today. This is a long video, but I'm hoping that I can get into this community and just make some friends and some laughs. So y'all have a great day, and I'll see you end of March, early April. Bye.